What's up, guys, and welcome to another edition of Tape Don't Lie. Cam Smith, my guy, Tim Doyle. And Tim, we're going to head out west to the Mountain West and focus in on a very special player in Malachi Flynn of San Diego State. They've been balling. Didn't lose a game in January.
Well, waiting for him was tough. He transferred in from Washington State, changed his look a little bit, grew out the goatee, got a haircut, and he has been outstanding this year. San Diego State's not very flashy, and neither is Flynn, but damn, he does all the small things on the court, doesn't he, Cam?
Yeah, and it's a big reason why they're one of the best in the country. You talk about he got a new haircut, grew out the goatee. I call it the glow up, right? You see the glow up right there, obviously, in points and his percentages, especially when it comes to his assists and how he gets his team involved. And San Diego State, yeah, they're out west. They don't get a lot of pub, but when the NCAA tournament comes, you're going to know their names. And we talk about him assisting and getting his teammates involved. That's a clear example right there.
He's got such an incredibly high basketball IQ. And one thing I really noticed on film is how he attempts to go at big men.
Yeah.
He spots out the big men on the other squad, and he goes, all right, you may be able to stay with me side to side, little guard, but I know if I get that big guy, I can make the right decision in the pick and roll. And 9 times out of 10, he has made the right decision, averaging over 5 assists on the year. Just seems like San Diego State never seems out of sorts, always are under control, because that's what Flynn brings to the table.
And the point guard, no matter what level it is, that's the hardest position in basketball. Not college basketball, the pros or high school, but just in basketball in general. Now, we saw the first clip with him just making an easy feed to his big that slipped on that down screen. And here's another one. Look at that pass. So that's around maybe, I'm assuming this guy's at least 6'10", but around his body over to his diving big. That's timing, that's chemistry, but that's also the peripherals, the eyes.
And look how he really takes it into the lane, gets really a paint touch there, and has that big come out. And now, once again, pick and roll, where he is going to spot shadow the big on Fresno State. Okay, you're going to pick me up. 2 guys come to me. Game's pretty easy. 2 guys guarding me. I'm going to find my teammate to bury the 3.
And we talk about his timing passing the ball, Tim. When he comes off of this, look how he just draws the eyes of that second defender coming off that screen, holding that big guy, understanding again, KYP, knowing your personnel, knows his teammate can stretch the defense out, so he just gives him a nice, easy pass right in his pocket for that 3.
Yeah, little known fact about Malachi Flynn, all right? He's the youngest of 7. So when you have 6 other siblings, you got to share the sugar.
You got
to. You got to pass the cupcakes around. You got to share at the table. And he's done such a great job, because sitting out a year, and I did that from St. John's to Northwestern, that can really shake your confidence. And it has it with him. It's really been a seamless transition. Didn't win a lot of games at Washington State, and has gone to San Diego State and has really been flawless this year on both ends of the floor. What stands out to you on this play?
Well, first I got to ask you, did you have a glow up when you transferred from St. John's to Northwestern? Did you change your hair? Did you grow your beard out? What did you do?
You know, I was at LA Looks hold number 4, so you don't know about that. And then I went to hold number 8 because it was moving too much when I was playing or sitting on the bench. But I think there's a confidence thing, because when you don't play for a year, you're like, am I really as good as I supposed to be? Here, talk about one of the all-time great scorers in the history of Washington State high school basketball. And then you sit out and you're like, all right, where am I going to kind of find my way? He has been perfect for Brian Dutcher this year. Just seems like he's always in the right place at the right time. What would stand out to you as far as, if you had to describe his game, how would you describe it?
It has to be a heady point guard that loves to get his teammates involved first. So we mentioned the 5 assists a game. He doesn't hunt for shots, and that's what you love as a head coach. If I'm going to have a guy on my team that's going to be in that position with the ball in his hands for maybe 95% of the game, I want him to be able to get my other guys involved first instead of jacking up shots, and that's what sets Malachi Flynn apart from a lot of people. So again, drawing the defense again and holding that secondary defender so he has enough time to get his big man an easy dunk.
San Diego State has always made its bread and butter on the defensive end, right? We talk about Kawhi Leonard, one of the best two-way players in the history of the NBA, began his career at San Diego State. And here's a guy who can guard multiple positions. He averages nearly 2 steals a game. And I wouldn't say he's elite level athlete. I wouldn't say he's like crazy long or athletic. He's only 6'1", but just seems to always be in the right place at the right time. What do you attribute that to?
It has to be his timing, of course, on the defensive end, but it comes with his veteran leadership. You talk about him being at Washington State, sitting out last year. So now he's been able to watch a lot of film, play a lot of basketball. I'm sure he's playing against pros from his hometown or even somewhere within the area that San Diego State is in on the West Coast in Cali. So he's making sure that he's learning learning the game, and that's what sets him apart from other point guards in the country, is that he's a student of the game. Again, this comes from film study. That's all that is. He knows that big for Fresno State is not going to give that ball up when he has it in that position, so he just comes around the backside, a la John Stockton, picks his pocket, gets an easy layup.
You know, one thing I have learned since I finished playing in 2007, I think guys are more athletic now and take better care of their body, and I do think individually they may be more individually talented. But if you know how to play and you think like a coach and you have a high basketball IQ, I actually think that's more valuable than being athletic.
I agree.
Because the game slows down. When you watch him on the court, defensively, he knows where to be even when he's not guarding somebody. Offensively, he's able to help his teammates out and know when it's time for him to go and when it's time for his teammates to shine. And I think that's what separates him, and that's why San Diego State is really rolling this year, because everyone seems to be on the same page, and he is such a great leader. When I think of his game player comparison, I think of Fred VanVleet.
I love it.
Wichita State. And I called games when VanVleet was at Wichita State, played alongside of Ron Baker, and I remember thinking like, a little too small, not that athletic. When I talk to NBA GMs, they believe he's a 40% shooter from three, and that's what he's shooting this year from three.
But you know what my comparison would be, or who my comparison would be for Malachi Flynn on the college level, a player that I've seen that, distributes the basketball but can also score, make big-time shots just like that. That's a game winner. 5 seconds left. Look at him come off of the screen. Now look where he starts and how he has to rearrange or redirect himself to come back around to the ball. That's what you want. He wants that shot. He's hunting a shot, but for good reason, because, again, what he shoots from three. But my comparison is going to be Tyler Ulis when he was at Kentucky. Now, if you remember Tyler Ulis, his sophomore season at Kentucky, of course, he finished SEC Player of the Year, SEC Defensive Player of the Year. That's who Malachi Flynn reminds me of, a guy that can get his teammates involved, heady point guard, but can also score the basketball. And Flynn is only 6'1". That's a difficult shot for a 6'1" guy to make. I know it. I'm 6'1". You're not going to be able to get that over the top of the arms of longer athletes, but he's able to do it. He just finds a way.
Shooting is down across the board in college basketball, and I attribute to that the line going back. Now, I was not a great shooter from three. Don't look at the numbers. 20% my senior year from three, okay? Hey. But the line going back, even when I step on a court now, I'm like, whoa, this is a big difference. It's not as obviously as deep as the NBA three, but the line going back, I think a lot of teams have exploited that because you're still in that rhythm of shooting so many threes. Like some teams defensively are like, oh, you want to shoot more threes? Well, line's a little further, and the percentages showing guys' percentages from three are down.
Yeah, we saw the numbers there for San Diego State. They're top 50 when it comes to offense of what they do. But again, one of those situations with Malachi Flynn where he has to understand defensively. We'll switch the conversation to the defensive end. We talk about how great he is seeing the floor, scoring the basketball, finding his teammates. But this is a situation for an older guy that he has to understand that he can't close out and run underneath of a shooter, especially how guys are flailing their legs out nowadays. So he has to stay calm back and be controlled in his closeout.
Well, you guard a guy like Jazz Johnson, one of the best shooters in the Mountain West, who's been around a long time, and they're just a little overzealous on the defensive end for the crafty junior. What do you think, come back to school another year, or do you think he's ready?
It depends on that NCAA tourney run. We've seen a lot of guys just have a great tournament and they have no choice but to leave. Even their head coaches are saying, hey, you can't come back because you're going to be missing on a lot of money and you could risk injury. So it depends on how that run goes. Right now, I would say at this point in the season that he should come back for another year. Just a case on that point there where you would elect for a pull-up jump shot instead of driving too deep for that floater because you know that help side is coming. He's going to get this basketball, pull-up jumper, 1, 2, right there at the elbow. Just pull that shot up instead of driving too deep for that floater, and he picks up a charge.
Well, he's going to have the bullseye now.
Yeah.
Because coming into this year, it was the guy in Utah State that was preseason player of the year. I'm talking about Sam Merrill. And right now, Malachi Flynn has to be the favorite for that award. So the bullseye is there.
Right.
You go to the scouting report. San Diego State all of a sudden becomes Biggie, Tupac, the Beatles, Rolling Stone, whatever demo you like music-wise, that's the show that's coming to town in the Mountain West, and everyone's going to be gunning for you. So he has to be ready each and every night to catch everyone's best punch. You don't play for a year. San Diego State, before the season started, wasn't ranked, and now every single game becomes the other team's national championship. Right. That is a huge burden to carry all season long.
And I'm going with Biggie and Tupac just for you guys know. If
I'm going Stones.
Stones? You going Stones?
Beatles make me too emotional. Like every time I listen to a Beatles song, I well up. I start thinking I need to call my mom more. I need to like be a better citizen, help old ladies cross the street. They're a push off.
Yeah, and that's where it's a detriment with his size. It's 6'1", only 185 pounds, where he can't get his shot off of the top of taller defenders, right? So it's a situation, if he's going to the NBA, which I'm sure he will, he has to find different ways of getting his shot off. And I love that you made the Fred VanVleet comparison, because VanVleet can get his shot off no matter who's guarding him.
Yeah, I think Fred's done an unbelievable job of becoming that knockdown shooter. What
do you see here on this play here, where he just a catch and just a jack, especially early in the shot clock?
See, I think because the line has been moved out. Now, the black line here would be the women's line, the white line being the college line, is that you find yourself now really far out. I mean, that's Steph Curry-like three.
Off of no movement, too. He just catches and he stands. So he's not coming off a ball screen. He's not rotating off a screen or coming off a down or a stagger or anything. He's just catching, standing for a second, and just jacking it up.
Yeah, there's really no rhythm in that, right? You're not taking your traditional 1-2. Now, I get that he sees some space and he thinks that's a good shot, but that is a deep three. But he hasn't made many wrong decisions this year. San Diego State has really been unblemished on both ends of the floor. If I had to describe Brian Dutcher, this would be his angel. That's what Malachi means. Do you know any good Malachis? The Malachis I know they were bad on the floor.
Yeah.
Okay, they were bad guys. I mean, like bad means good. It's actually like an adjective.
Bad, not bad.
He's
bad
been the angel
good
for Brian Dutcher and really the leader for the San Diego State squad.
Well, Malachi Flynn, I'm sure we're going to see them make a long run in the NCAA tournament, and it's because of Malachi Flynn. That's Tape Don't Lie. Tim Doyle, Cam Smith. Thanks for rocking with us.